All right, hello and welcome back. This is Made by Boo. My name is Shannon and I am filming just outside of Boise, Idaho. It has been about, I think this is week 3 since I last filmed, which means there's a little bit, not as much as you would think, to catch up on. I know my last one went out a few days late, and then I felt like I didn't really have anything to add to film early. And then last weekend I was out of town helping my brother paint his house, and I'd actually managed to hurt my back while out, so there was no way we were even going to think about filming on the go to begin with. But it would have been deeply painful to try to add carrying equipment with me. So it seemed like it was best to just skip a week and come back. Today, my back is not hurt. My brother is finishing his house with the people who could make it. I could not make it 2 weekends in a row. And yeah, now I am here ready to get into what I've been working on. With 3 weeks off, you'd think I'd have a whole bunch of finished objects or a whole bunch of projects I've been working really hard on. And I have 3 finished objects and I mean kind of 2.5 that are works in progress. And then I have like long-term works in progress, but we may or may not get into some of these today. Probably not. If there's no progress since the last time I showed it, there's not really a lot of point to show you again. So I will start with my first finished object, which is my Love Story Socks. So this is the pattern from the Crazy Sock Lady, and it is the Love Story Sock pattern. She does hers with different colored stripes all the way down. I did mine with just 2 different colors. I think I have my labels right here. Oh, good. I thought I had them handy. So the yarn is from Twisted Yarns, and it was a Doctor Who themed set. So we have Time Traveler Blue, and then this gray is Temporal Vortex. I'm pretty sure 3 weeks ago when I showed these, I really just needed to finish the toe on the second sock. And if I remember correctly, I actually finished these the day I filmed, and then by the time the video was actually posted, they had been finished and blocked. So, yay. So yeah, these are the Love Story socks from the Crazy Sock Lady. The next finished object I have was the other pair of socks I had started. These I just finished yesterday, and I have not blocked them yet because I didn't want them to be wet while I was filming. This is just a vanilla sock pattern. I did a 3x1 rib on the cuff. No real reason why, I just wanted to. And then I did a slip stitch heel with a heel flap and gusset. I just kind of wanted a slightly different texture. And then just the contrast came with the set for the cuff and the toe. I'm really glad I did not do the heel. I will show you why in a moment, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. The yarn is from Potions and Pearls, and it is the Toadstool Cottage sock set. So, it's just out of reach. Because I just finished these yesterday, I still have the yarn in the yarn cozies. You can see it looks, I haven't weighed it yet, but I have a good amount left of the main color. Maybe enough to do like some very shorty socks, but this is all I had left of my contrast red. So not very much. I think if I had tried to do cuffs, heels, and toes, it would not have been enough. I mean, I did a slightly taller cuff than I normally would, but not a lot taller. I like it without the contrast heel though too. And I think I like it better with the rib and the toe than if I had done the rib and the heel. So I think it worked out very well with what I had. And the last finished object, I need to scoot back to see if I can get it in frame. So someone is very anxiously waiting for me to return this. This is part of what I brought with me when I traveled because it was a very simple project. I was going to talk a little bit about the yarn and acquisitions. This is, and I'll just show it now, if I can reach it. Sorry, I thought I had everything where I needed it. So this was using one of Karen Colorama Halo cakes. So it is a, oh my goodness, where is it? Ah, there we go. It is a size 5 bulky, and it recommended using US size 10 or 6mm needles, 6mm size 10 hook. I don't remember what sized hook I used. This one is just a completely untouched one. My youngest child wanted a shawl because I have a tendency to sit here in this chair working on projects or homework with this shawl draped around me like this, and then she'll call me and I come out like this. And it kind of turned into, this is now my Swamp Witch shawl. So she wanted to be a Swamp Witch too, with a purple shawl that needed to be super fuzzy and super cozy. So I gave her the choice of a rectangle, a square, or a triangle for the shape of her shawl. She said triangles are the best shape. I didn't really use a pattern for this. I cast on with a magic circle, did a double crochet. So on the edge, I would chain 3, 2 double crochet, then double crochet in every stitch, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the middle, and then when I get to the other end, in the last stitch, it would be 2 double crochet and a treble. US terms, yeah, I can't remember translating those off the top of my head into UK terms. I used to use UK terms a little bit more, but I don't as much now because I am back in the United States. But yeah, it was not a very fancy pattern. I just worked until I got to where I didn't think I had enough yarn to make one more row, and for a 5-year-old, it wraps around her shoulders just enough for her to be cozy and tight, not so much where she trips over it. And since completing it, my teenager would now kind of like a square, and I have some very similar yarn that was already in stash. I had to buy the purple, but I have some that was already in stash in grays, which happens to be just the correct color for my teenager. So, no real pattern, just kind of improvised it based on other triangle shawls I have done. And this is my child's Swamp Witch shawl. And she desperately wants it back now, so I'm going to go return it, and then we'll talk about my works in progress. Alright, so she was very happy to have the shawl back. I don't even think she would have worn it right now, but she was very nervous about me taking it to show it, and what was I going to say about it, so she was happy to see it back. I think I can show 4 different things that I've worked on in the last 3 weeks that I have not finished. I have made absolutely no progress on my Advertense year-long knit-along. I was starting to catch up, and then that stopped. So I'm trying to make a logical plan for when I'm going to work on some of those things. The other long make, I think I've made some progress since I last showed it. Oh yeah, because there's my little pigeon. So this is my data blanket. The pigeon is where I was 3 weeks ago. This is something I have not gotten a lot of work on in the last few weeks. I've talked about it before. It is very similar to a temperature blanket, but every line is the score on a test that I am doing to study for a new certification, taking a whole bunch of tests, doing a whole bunch of studying. And I still really do like the idea of having this ready so that when I go to test for certification, all I have to do is put the line in, hopefully saying I have passed. But it's just, I'm still very excited about it, and I still very much love it, but I don't feel like I end up working on it as much as I should. I've started thinking about doing the 30 minutes a day that is recommended by several people. I'm not sure who started it. But where, hey, you have a project that's kind of been taking a long time, just work on it for 30 minutes a day. And I was thinking that might be a very good one for that, because it is just very simple single crochets, no hard patterns, so I could do it for other stuff. I could work a couple of rows and then be done. It's just something that I was just starting to think that might be a good candidate for it. So not really a lot of progress on that looks like a lot of progress since 3 weeks ago, but had I been working on it consistently for the last 2 weeks, I feel like it would have been more progress. The other projects that I have one more that you have seen previously. Ooh. So this one has not seen any work in the last week, but I got a lot done on it before. So this is something I always forget to look up how to pronounce. It is a pattern from Expression Fiber Arts. I think it might be Panopeia, but it is a shirt. So you work the front and the back panels, very, very similar. Start with a little rib, work up in a stockinette, and then there's a lace panel at the top. So this is the front, just the stockinette, and my plan had been to do the stockinette on the front, then the stockinette on the back, and then do the lace on the front and the back. Hoping to keep like my tension even so that when and make it a little bit easier on my brain, like if I get in a good rhythm with the stockinette, I'm doing all of that. And when I'm doing really good with the lace pattern, hopefully, I don't remember what the repeat is, but hopefully it's something I kind of memorize and then I'm just done. But then I do it on one side and then do it again and I stay in that rhythm. But I was going to cake up the ball to start the next one. Oh, the yarn is from Expression Fiber Arts as well. It is their the color Silvery Seas from their Luster Sport. So it's a 50% superwash merino, 50% lyocell. And it is recommended a US size 3 to 5 or a needle or hook D to F. I believe, oh yeah, I'm using a 3.5 needle. So I was going to cake up the yarn to start the other panel, and I started caking this yarn on my old winder 4 times, and 4 times, halfway through, the ball literally jumped up off the winder and flew across the room. And by the time I finally got it into a cake, it was such a messy cake. It was so awful. My yarn ball winder, I believe I might have bought it from Knit Picks. It was a very inexpensive one. I think I spent 20 bucks on it at least 15 years ago. So I definitely got my money's worth out of that one. And it was one of those where it's like, okay, maybe it's finally time to retire this. I've been having problems with it every now and then, but it's usually worked. If it's not going to allow me to cake a ball of yarn anymore, I don't know why it's doing this, but it's not serving its purpose. So I ordered a new yarn ball winder, and when we went out of town last weekend, we left on a Thursday, like the moment I got off work. The new ball winder came in on Wednesday. So I finally got it set up this morning and redid the ball. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna like my new winder. It's not the same, like, I don't know if I have. The best I think I really have is one of these cakes. They have been used a little bit. But like you can definitely see there's a difference in the cakes. And I'm not really sure that it's going to make a difference in how I use them, but it's just, We'll see if I really like this new winder. It's, I got one of those pretty wooden ones that's a little bit longer. My old one was just a rickety plastic one. We'll see if I like it. Hopefully I do, because it was a little bit more expensive, because I figured if I do this all the time, when I bought my $20 one like 15 years ago, I very frequently still used yarn that didn't come in a hank. You didn't need to wind it. Now I use yarn like this all the time, so having something a little nicer would be good. And it may just mean I have to kind of figure out how to use this new winder to get cakes I like. It was just kind of one of those where I took it off and it was a slightly different shape, and maybe I shouldn't care about it, but I do. So we'll talk about more of that later. Maybe we'll discover that I like this new way better. Maybe we'll discover I'm getting another one and resending the other one off to somebody who would like it more. So that is the Panopeia. I do need to start the other side panel, but I have not done it yet because, again, I just wound it up this morning and then went off on a tangent about ball winders. Sorry, my battery will let me go for like 12 minutes at a time, and that's kind of maxed out, so sometimes it's easier to just stop it and make sure I don't end up being stopped at an awkward time. So my two other projects, this one is also using yarn from Twisted Yarns. So this is technically a half-finished object. As soon as I finished my Love Story socks, I thought, you know what would be great? Another pair of Skimmer Socks. So 3 weeks ago, I showed a pair of Skimmer Socks that I had done with other yarn, and I just thought, oh, those fit wonderful. It's that time of year, and these would be so cute. And I started it and was doing great, and then went out of town. And left this sock just needing to be bound off, and I didn't have time to finish that before going out of town. Obviously, you can tell this sock is not blocked, as I still have little stitch markers hanging from it, letting me count my rows for that middle section. The Skimmer Sock pattern is from, printed this a long time ago, and I have it all out so that I just get the information I need. This is from Sheila Toy Stromberg. I believe it's a free pattern. It was at one point or another. Maybe it still is. So yeah, I have one done. I need to get the other one cast on. I have been trying to make it I'm starting to hit that point where I really just want to cast on so many things and start so many new projects, but I also really don't want to. So I'm trying to focus and be like, okay, finish those, finish these, finish that, and then cast on the projects that are logical. So work on keeping up or catching up. Like, I have year-long projects that I'm not caught up on and haven't been caught up on in a while. I could do a little more work on that. I have long-term projects, but I just keep thinking, like, I've got all this scrap yarn. I really want to do something. So I'm trying to focus, do the other sock, get that one completely done, and try to be focused on my projects, because I know usually when I want to cast on a million things, it's just because I'm tired and stressed and my brain says add more work. So yeah, one more Skimmer sock to do, and then that one is done. So that should be easy. The Skimmer socks can be kind of quick. Sorry, I'm definitely a little babbly. My last work in progress, I don't know why I bother apologizing for being babbly. I go off on a tangent every single time, and I think you guys should probably be used to it by now. So, these are, they're going to just be vanilla socks on magic loop. Taught myself to do magic loop a little bit for the Love Story socks. Clearly, I don't hate it. I would kind of like to try to learn how to do 9-inch circulars, because the only time I've ever tried that, I felt like there wasn't anywhere to hold on the needles. But I do think that they would be convenient for some kinds of travel, which is part of why I have been trying to do magic loop because with double pointed needles, you drop a needle and you're out of luck. With this, I'm not going to say it's impossible to drop a needle, but I feel like it's much harder. So, these are vanilla socks. I am using Regia Perfect in the color 09137. Let's see. So if you have not used or heard of Regia Perfect, there's this like darker yellow that you can see a little bit on the outside. And as you can see, I pulled from the inside. It starts with some of that, and you pull all the dark yellow off, and you cut it off. There's instructions on the inside of the label, so. And then once you cut that off, you cast on, and you knit your cuff until the color gets ready to change. And then you have all this pattern, and you're kind of just following what the little picture there looks like. It's probably not going to give you a great one, but when you reach for these socks, it's going to be this color again. You then do your heel, and then go until your socks are long enough, and so you should have a contrast cuff, heel, and toe. And I mean, in the pictures it kind of looks Fair Isle-ish. The actual stripes, I don't know. I liked the picture better than I'm liking how they're working up. Let me see if I can turn that right. But I mean, the picture's a very small picture, so this in person to me is very different. It's not that I dislike it. I just don't like it as much as I liked the other. I don't like it as much as I like the picture. But you still end up with the sock, and once you're done with that, you should have some more of the yellow where you cut it off and you do the whole thing again. So I am actually making these socks for my mother because while I don't necessarily like the pattern as much as I thought I would, I do know that she would, and I haven't made her a pair of socks in a while. Most of the time when I knit socks, I just knit them for myself because I wear, like, I mean, you can see it right now. I wear my hands knit socks all the time. I like them. I like the bright colors, and so I just tend to make them for myself over and over and over again. But my mom also likes it when I make her nice woolly socks, and I think she would really like the yellow, this pale yellow, and the blues and the greens and the reds, and it's kind of a rusticy wool, but it would also be nice and warm for her, and I think that she would really appreciate that once the weather turns. It is still August, so I have a little time before the weather really, really turns, but that just means I have a little bit of time to get it together and send it off to her. So, that, babbling about socks, a lot of babbling about socks. I have been enjoying summer sock camp, but I was not expecting to babble about socks quite that much. So that is all my works in progress. I do, of course, have some acquisitions going on here and some future plans to talk about still. So let me readjust what's around me, make sure my camera battery will last for a little bit, and then we will see what I have acquired since last time. All right, so since last time, I have received a little bit of yarn that was particularly ordered. I have received some subscription yarn. There we go. I have received my subscription fiber. So I have a few things to show. I'm not sure I can actually do it sequentially, so we'll just start with what's on top. This just arrived this last week. This is my Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month Club. It actually took me a moment when I was looking at my cards to figure out the theme because, as you can see, like, we got a lot of stuff going on here. So, the theme of this month is Bob Ross. One of the reasons why it threw me off is because the pattern that they kind of highlighted is for that little frog, And the color options for one of them was either Kermie or Gonzo. So I saw that and I thought, oh, Muppet themed, but why that for Muppet themed? So it took me a minute, and of course, you know, why that for Muppet themed? So this is because it's Bob Ross. The Kermie or Gonzo color, I don't know why, but I'm okay with it. Frog, maybe just because nature. And the moth here is because of Airy Silk is one of the fibers. So that was a lot. With my fiber, let me start with my little bag here. I got a multicolor pen that I don't know if I will take it to work or give it to my 5-year-old who is starting kindergarten next week and would probably absolutely get a kick out of this. And I did not let her have any of the horror-themed pens I found at Spirit Halloween. And then I got decaf chocolate hazelnut as my flavor of tea this month. Here is my Eunice sticker. I think that might be the best lighting I can get. The way the light is hitting it, it's not great, but it is a little Bob Ross style, at least. Painting of some mountains, and you can see some little trees over here. So she's very cute and will look amazing on my yarn cart. And then the stitch marker that I got this time is actually a bunch of them. So I got a bunch of colorful light bulb Stitch It markers, and then this is a little paint palette, which I know you won't be able to focus on here, but it's adorable. I should not have taken all those out. So those are my little extras, and then I actually have not taken any of these out of the little crinkly bags because of the little crinkly bags. I didn't want everything getting mixed up right now. So I got 4 different fibers this month. So this is a gray flax silk blend. So it's very, very soft, but it definitely feels like it has long fibers. So it's almost firm like that. This, my color, I got Kermie, not Gonzo, and it is a 50% Tussa silk, 50% or 25% flax, 25% merino. And the little frog that, you know, pattern. Ooh. I feel like in person it's a little less bright, but definitely looking at that on the camera, like that is Kermie. I mean, maybe about there is about true to color. So definitely a Kermie green. I'm not sure if the little pattern that they recommended is a very Kermie looking frog, but alright. And then this should be white Airy Silk. Airy Silk? E-R-I. So much crinkling. So you can see, very, very soft. And I mean, with these, it's only an ounce of it, so it would be very, very good for blending. But it's nice to get them in these little amounts, because I could just spin it up just like that and just have a little bit, see if I even like it. And then this last one is Egyptian cotton. So mostly I got very light colors this time, but I could absolutely see, in spite of the fact that the color is Kermie, why it, like the green and the gray and the whites, like, I feel like that could be very painting. So that was a lot of crinkly bags. The next one that I have right on top is my subscription from Muse 2320, the Troop 2320, And this is actually July and August together. Normally the color ships out at the end of the month, but I don't know if one is specifically supposed to be July and the other is August. But the two go together this time, so she just shipped them together. So I'm a little sad I won't get one in a few weeks, but it's fine. So this is the color Paul Bunyan, and this is Babe the Blue Ox. So I'll make sure that the whole sock set is visible there. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, because I kind of feel like these two need to be into something together, but I have no idea what I do to make two sock sets into one thing. But I mean, I definitely remember the story of Paul Bunyan as a kid. I liked it. And so the idea of having Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox into one project is kind of cool. I don't know what it would be. I actually have my entire set so far of the Troop 2320 subscriptions in a cart that is actually right here in front of me still. I'm starting to make a mess. Ooh, okay. So I actually haven't gotten around to working any of them. So they still may all end up in one project together. Maybe turned into some sort of a Troop 2320 blanket. I don't know. I like them, and I do like the idea of doing stuff with the individual sock sets. They just, at this point, it's like, well, I haven't used any yet. Maybe I should wait and see what they all look like together before I pick what I'm going to do. So then it kind of feels like I can't do it, and yeah. Anyways, so I have a few more acquisitions. Let me keep going, because I know my camera battery will die. So this yarn came in shortly after I filmed last time. This was my congratulations on passing a class set. It is from Potions and Pearls, and it is their Love Potion sock set. So this is an 85 superwash extra fine merino, 15% nylon. It is super soft. It is the same stuff that I just finished a pair of socks in, and I mean, you would think extra fine merino is not that different from fine merino, but I don't know where she finds it, but it is super squishy. I even have other extra fine merino down here, and they're just slightly different. I don't know what it is, but I really do like it. I mean, obviously the other one is not bad. Maybe it's just the thickness. Because this, they're both fingering weight. But this is a 4-ply, and this is a 3-ply. So maybe that's why there's something super squishy about this, is that it's a 4-ply, so it's just a little more yarn in each squish. Then I do have one other from Potions and Pearls right here. This one was because I got a slight promotion at work. Not a huge one. I'm still working towards my huge one. But I did decide to celebrate and got myself 2 things of yarn. This one from Potions and Pearls. This is the Enchanted sock set. So this is, it says, oh yeah, 80% superwash extra fine merino. So it's a 4-ply as well, 15% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. So when I saw it on Etsy, I did not notice the stellina, and so I didn't know it was sparkly until I got it here. And that just makes me like it more. I don't know if there's a specific theme for the Enchanted. I definitely feel like she does a little bit of kind of that magical cottagecore fairy stuff, because I've got the Toadstool Cottage socks, Love Potion, and Enchanted. But this, it just definitely makes me think of a lavender field. Yeah, I really like the colorways she chooses. So that's another one from Potions and Pearls. And then I have this one here from Cashmere and Coconuts. And this is a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. And this is the color Beetlejuice. So another nice squishy one. doesn't say on here, but I think this one might be a 3-ply. So that's, yeah, I think it's that 4-ply that adds the extra bit of squishiness. I don't know. I think I'm overanalyzing. All right, I have just a little bit more, but also a dying battery. Always seems like I should use the excuse to drink more water. So for 3 weeks, I feel like I got both a lot of yarn and not a lot of yarn. So I did already show this. I ordered 2 of the Karen Colorama Halo for my daughters, and then for my daughter's shawl, and then I ended up only using one. I'm not 100% sure what I'll use the other one for yet, but this is the color Lavender Frost. And then when ordering it, I also ordered 2 also of the Colorama Halo, and these are in the color Amber Ocean. I just really like that beachy sun water look. I will probably use it to do some sort of a little lap blanket shawl like that for me, but I'm not sure how yet. And then I have something I will not show a whole bunch of, but at some point you may see these again. I also ordered handful, I lost one, of embroidery floss. I'm not going to go through and show all the individual colors today because they are just your basic DMC. There's nothing particularly special about these. I have not really talked about cross stitch or embroidery on here previously. I ordered them from Joann's, and then I did the click and collect, which is just a much easier way to get a large amount of embroidery floss, is, you know, having somebody else pick it out for you. So I did learn how to do cross stitch when I was, I don't know, 10 or 11. I've picked up so many things over the years. I do like to cross stitch technically, but it is one of those things that I really have to look at the pattern and the fabric and focus, so I don't do it a lot. I tend to do a lot of things where I can somewhat multitask, like making a vanilla sock, things like that. But I did want to do a pattern to kind of put at my desk and celebrate when I complete my certification. So when I get started on that, I already have the pattern, I just haven't started making it. I will probably show my progress on that, but right now it's just a pile of threads. So that is all of my finished objects, works in progress, new acquisitions. So now it's just a little bit of future plans and anything like that. So I am working on focusing on finishing these projects. I'm probably going to try to get a little bit of work done on my skimmer sock. So I tend to divide my projects by area, if that makes sense. My data blanket stays right here by the chair. I usually have another project that stays upstairs, a project for downstairs, and a project for the car. It was usually like one project in each, but the data blanket and the year-long blankets have always kind of just stayed upstairs. So I'm currently working on rearranging where everything is because my toadstool socks were my car knitting up until yesterday morning when I finished them. This sock was my TV knitting, but like downstairs, because I would sit there for maybe 20 minutes hanging out talking to my kids while my youngest would watch a cartoon kind of thing, and I could talk to them while working vanilla in the round. That may move to car knitting. Yeah, I'm not sure where everything's going to go, but I am trying to work on finishing these projects so that I can prepare for new projects. There are other ones that I specifically want to do. I do want to work on some scrappy projects. I have another advent calendar that I purchased last year, and I have been seeing the Cozy Comfort throw. I had thought about making it into a shawl, but that particular Advent set is very, very bright. So it's one, I'm not sure I would actually wear it out. But the Cozy Comfort Throw takes an Advent calendar and combines it with a bare yarn, which I think would cut through a little bit of the brightness, and it would make just a very cozy, squishy blanket. And as it, I haven't like memorized the pattern or anything. It is a paid for pattern, so I wouldn't give the details on that anyways. But it appears to mostly just be like garter stitch through most of it too, so it'd be something where you could just set it up and go. So I'm really excited about the idea of doing that, and I have pre-ordered more Advents than is necessary. So there's a part of me that would also really like to get that old Advent out of the way before a whole bunch more start coming in, and I have to start figuring out what to do with them. But I don't have the bare yarn to go with it. I also have a couple of sweaters that I was planning on making as gifts, hoping to have them done for Christmas. So, I mean, there's some things that I need to start working on, specifically things that, like if I'm going to make sweaters for Christmas, they're not fingering weight sweaters, but they will still take a minute. So, those are coming up. I definitely still want to catch up on my Advertent shawl. I would really like to not have another time where I'm like, I'm not showing it because I didn't work on it. But we shall see. A lot of this is also dependent on, you know, finding the calm. I finish school next week. I am taking my finals this upcoming week, and then I have been working on field work for as long as I've been in school, and the required field work, I need about 50 hours out of 2,000 left. So, like, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, assuming I pass my class, and I should theoretically get those 50 hours completed, because I'm able to work on those hours while I'm at my job. I just don't necessarily, like if I work 8 hours, that's not a guarantee all 8 hours of that will be field work. But based on the way I have been able to arrange field work, I should be able to do that within the next couple of weeks. And then that's two major things that I've been working on for like almost 2 years now off my plate, and I will just be studying, getting more data for my data blanket until I take my test. So I'm trying to do everything I can to kind of clear things out as I work on those, and then hopefully in a few weeks you will see just that weight lifted off my shoulders as I'm able to start focusing on making just what I want to make because I want to make it. Not necessarily, well, I need something simple because I'm using too much brain power for everything else. So yeah, I think after that babble, that is all. I am planning on being back in a couple of weeks, hopefully with some of this finished. And I would be very shocked if I don't have something new to show. Until then, have a happy making.